Don't
It's not good for your hair.
No, it isn't.
Wash it
Don't do
every
dry
day.
shampoo. You need to do. Hey, are we live?
I got you that time, didn't I? Because I just kept going with conversation.
Well, I always get hung up on your dry shampoo thing.
I know.
So
if anyone is watching this and they don't wash their hair every day, help me out here, because Tony seems to think you need to wash your hair every day.
Yes.
You don't. Dry shampoo was made for a reason. I'm trying to support the economy by buying every single bottle on the shelf.
Now you're having problems, you said. Now you're having problems.
No, it just had like a weird, it had like a really weird curl down here that had like a life of its own. Anyways, how are you today? How's your week going?
Oh, it's going fantastic. How about you?
It's been, I won't lie to you, everyone had off on Monday.
Yes.
First of all, I'm still not used to having holidays. And second of all, like, it's just weird getting back into the swing. Like, I feel like short weeks are so great, but then it's like, oh wait, what did we all miss?
Yeah. I think that short weeks, 4-day weeks seem longer than 5-day weeks.
Yes.
And I don't know if we're trying to pack 5 days into 4 or what the issue is, but it is really, really tough. So, and I've read things I got to do over the weekend that you need to be done. So, I will be.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Well, and especially with our job, because, I mean, honestly, folks depend. I mean, we've got to fix issues in this state.
Mm-hmm.
We got I mean, we had a report today that suicides for kids or youth ages 10 to 24 have risen 48% over the last decade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we got a big job ahead of us, and we can't be using dry shampoo. That's what I'm saying.
No, dry shampoo is actually going to cure all of the problems that we have going on in the world right now.
I think it's responsible for the pandemic. Anywho, so we weren't on last week because you went on.
I went on vacation.
Where did you go?
I went on a surprise trip to go see my parents in Jersey.
Very nice.
It was awesome. We surprised them at I only told my sister-in-law and therefore my brother that we were coming home, so we kind of planned it with them. We showed up at their house. My parents were over for dinner, and we just kind of walked in, and they were blown away, both of my parents.
So describe the scene. So, like, they didn't know. So
okay, I can't describe it too much because there were profanities.
Oh, well, okay. Describe the scene in a G-rated.
Okay.
Like it's a Disney.
Well, my parents were. My brother has a finished basement, so he's got like a built-in bar and everything. So they were all sitting at the bar, like just kind of chit-chatting. And we came down the stairs into the room, and so we let Owen go first. But they have a son who is 3, so they heard Owen like playing, and nobody flinched. So I think they all thought it was my nephew, Connor. And then my husband walked in, and he just kind of stood there, and my dad just like looked at him, and he said that he thought that my husband was one of my brother's friends. And then I just walked in because I was like, why is nobody noticing? And my dad was like, holy guacamole, holy guacamole, holy guacamole. But then my mom wasn't responding. She's just like looking at him like, hey, can you like quiet down? And he's like, holy guacamole. And I just kind of like walked up to my mom. I was like, I know, I can't believe it either. And she just screamed. I thought she was going to fall off the stool. She screamed so loud that she actually scared my son. And then, she like just cried the whole time. So it was great. It was a huge success.
Awesome.
Whenever you can make your mom cry, you've won.
Well, I do every day, but for other reasons.
It It was good. It was much needed. They live right on the lake, so it was a nice little view every day.
And like it's not like they're next door.
No, they are 8 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So it wasn't that bad. I mean, I slept pretty much most of the time.
Well, so it was a bad drive for Matthew.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, like, does he turn on the radio or what?
No, he I think it's illegal, but he puts in like headphones and listens to his podcast.
Oh.
And then my son has like his tablet, so he watches like all of the Toy Stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I just like either read or like nobody talks to each other.
Wow.
Full 8 hours. Pretty much. I mean, I think in the total of 8 hours, we talked for like an hour.
Has it always been? Has this always been the way it's been?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. So like when you were dating, if you went somewhere?
We didn't really go anywhere that we had to, like when we were dating, if we went to Jersey, we flew.
Oh, okay.
So like that was different.
Wow. Huh. Okay. And then what did you do?
There. It's okay. So, but what about you? What's going on in your world?
I broke my toe this week.
You broke it?
Yeah, that was fun.
How did you break it?
My wife had a stool that was sitting in the middle of this room, and it was dark, and I was getting ready for work and, getting ready to go in, and because I go into the office sometimes, and literally the middle toe, it was the third one in. So yeah.
Like you stubbed it?
Yeah, I stubbed it, and it was against a wall, so it didn't budge. So it like is black and red and all kinds of different fun colors. So I did that.
That's a great visual.
Yeah, thank you. And I've got ugly feet anyway, so this doesn't help any. So yeah, thank you.
I don't even know how to like transition out of that.
So the broadcast is over.
And we're done. No, I think we would be remiss to not mention that it is September 11th.
Yeah.
Now, where I love hearing everybody's answers to this. Where were you on September 11th, 20 years ago? How long it's been? 20 years?
No, 19. So it was 2001.
Okay.
So next year will be 20th.
You're right. Nearly 20 years ago. Where were you on September 11th?
I was working in the governor's office, like
Governor
of Ohio's office, and I was listening to Howard Stern show, and he was on there talking about Pamela Anderson, and he's like, "Oh my God, a plane just hit the World Trade Center," because he's in New York.
Right.
Like, and then he starts.
So could he see it?
No, but he was.
He got like the news.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, these people, they fly their planes too low." Everybody kind of thought it was this private owner who just happened to accidentally.
Oh, okay.
So then the other one hit, and then it was like he was starting to yell and scream, and I went, and then somebody was going around saying, somebody's hit the World Trade Centers and in the office. So we went down, and in the governor's office, there's these four big TVs that were always on, watching news coverage. So we stood down there, and then they found out that there was one that was in Ohio's air territory. It ended up being Flight 93, the one that was in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. So everybody was like, so the governor sent us home, and it was the weirdest scene. It was like it was out of what is that show? That Independence Day, if you've ever seen that movie, and everybody's trying to get out. Like it was like that. And I remember this one legislator was out of his car because the traffic was completely stopped, and he was screaming at everybody to move, just screaming. He got out of his car. It was a pretty intense scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, how about you? You were what, 4?
No, I was in the 6th grade. We actually, where I grew up, we were 30 minutes outside of the city.
Wow.
And I actually had an aunt who was working in the towers. So when the towers hit, and like every other weekend, we were up in New York in Staten Island with our family. But so when the towers hit, I was actually in Mr. Elder's 6th grade math class. And I remember that because they turned on the TV and made all of us watch it, but I didn't finish my homework from the night before. So like while everyone's watching, I'm like watching, but I'm like quickly like rushing to finish my homework. And then I think I made it maybe 2 more classes. In the 2nd class. I got pulled out and a lot of us were evacuated. So either like, and you went in like clumps. So like my mom picked up my cousin who lived up the street and me, and then 2 other people. And my whole family just kind of gathered at my house and we just sat and watched the news. And I remember for about 2 weeks, we were glued to the TV watching, and we were searching for my aunt because that day she had actually called my uncle and she had said, you know, I'm done. Like, I don't want to work here anymore. She was there for the car bombings. She was there for that. She like saw the plane hit underneath her and she's like, just come pick me up. Like, I don't want to be here. And we found out that she evacuated to the top, to the roof. But we couldn't, like the phone lines were down, so we couldn't get in touch with my uncle or anyone else in Staten Island. So like the only way that we could figure anything out was by like watching the news and looking for her. But it ended up being that she actually passed away in the towers.
Really?
And so it's like weird to me to hear like where everyone was and what everyone was doing, because like growing up, like everybody knew someone. If you didn't know someone who worked in the Twin Towers, you knew people who went there. Like we lived 30 minutes away. Our fire companies went into the city. It was just like
wow.
A halt.
I didn't know that your aunt was there.
Yes. Well, I call her an aunt. So we're Italian, so everybody's like cousins or aunts and uncles. It's my mom's cousin's fiance at the time. They were supposed to get married in December of that year.
Wow. That's awful.
Yeah. She had like a little girl who I want to say she was like a few months older than me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Not to like bring the mood down.
I had no idea.
Yeah. I actually just recently, within like, I think past 4 years, I want to say, went to the World Trade Center Memorial.
Yeah.
That museum, they did a phenomenal job there.
Yes, they did. And yeah, the between the fountains and the truck underneath and and then you could see where I guess the foundation kind of was. You could.
Yep. Yeah, they still have like the original stairs.
Yeah.
They have like this one section where you can type in the person who died, their name, and then you kind of walk into like a little box and it plays anything that they have. So like there were voicemails being played, there's photos, newspaper clippings, like anything that belonged to that person, they play there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really phenomenal. And if anyone ever has the chance to go there, I highly suggest it.
Yeah. Poor New York right now, though. Everybody's moving out, I've heard. So.
Yeah. I saw those articles. Like nobody wants to be in New York right now.
I've heard 12,000 restaurants have closed since the pandemic. That's a lot of folks who now are out of work.
Yeah.
Jeez. It's a great conversation we're having.
It really is. Like, it's very uplifting. And So positive.
Which was the original point was, how do we forget, for an hour, all of the issues that are going on around us? But, this is a pretty somber day, and I had no idea about your aunt. And I mean, does anyone else who's out there who might be watching, where were you all at?
Yeah. I really do. That sounds like so weird, but I really do love hearing it because it's like it's the one thing, at least that I can remember in my life. I'm 30 years old. So like, it's the one thing that like I can remember everyone knew about. Like everyone has a memory of that day.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how like different parts of the world reacted.
Yeah, it was very, even though, like I said, we were, 8, 9 hours away, when that plane entered, because we were in the governor's office, when that plane entered into Ohio airspace, it was like, uh-oh, are they coming for Cleveland? Are they coming for Columbus? And, and then it turned around and
that was in Sykesville, right?
Shanksville.
Shanksville.
Yeah.
My grandmother lives out there.
Jeez.
Just all over the place.
Wow.
No, but I mean, like they were nearby. They weren't at all affected by it, though. Thank God.
So that's
a great segue into our guest.
So is Stacy?
Yeah, she's here.
Excellent. The most interesting part about this job, it's not interesting. It's so bittersweet. You get to meet great people, but the circumstances you meet them in, I wish, I have a quandary of with myself. It's like, they're all lovely folks that I get to meet, but also it's like, because of the job I'm in, it's like you almost wish you never met them because of the circumstances. But I'm actually, we had a very good conversation with Stacy Hubbard. I'm so happy to have Stacy on with us today. She is she lives in the town I went to elementary school in.
Oh, fun.
Small world.
Yeah. So, and met her again in my job. You a lot of times don't meet under the best circumstances, but she lives in the school district that I graduated from high school, Indian Lake, Ohio.
Oh.
So,
Go Lakers! We won last night.
Really? Who? We never did that in high school. We were always awful.
Never won in high school.
Who did you beat?
It was actually on Thursday Night Lights. They televised it last night too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Northwestern, I believe, is who we were playing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we couldn't win. Like we were always like 2 and 9. So I must have had a very unathletic class that was just.
For you, the both of you?
Oh no! When I graduated, I was 5'5", 135 pounds. So I was not. Huh?
Good for you. Yeah.
I was not built for football. No, I am, but it's been a long time. So Stacy, Indian Lake, you got something? One of the things I want to have you on for. You got a pretty good event that you're going to be hosting this week.
Yes, on Sunday we are doing a motorcycle benefit ride and community event. It's starting in Union, Ohio, which is like right by Inglewood, by the airport, kind of down by there. We're starting at the VFW there, and the ride will come up to Oldfield Beach in Indian Lake, and we'll there and community can come along. We've got raffle baskets, silent auction items, and food. It's one of our local ladies is doing chicken and noodles and mashed potatoes. and we're going to have sloppy joes and chips and stuff too, so we can feed everybody.
I love sloppy joes.
Yeah, very good. We're going to have a 50-50 drawing. Of course, we're right there at the beach, so if anybody wants to swim, if it gets any warmer, it was a little chilly today. We're going to be right next to the volleyball nets, so we'll, if anybody wants to get a volleyball game going. So it's going to be more of like a kind of hangout community event. All of the proceeds from that will go to the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation. We're also going to have an arts and crafts section, mainly focusing a lot on my daughter Courtney's artwork. She was going to go to college to be in animation, but unfortunately in end of January of this year, she committed suicide. So all this is going to be an annual event in her honor to help raise awareness and money for suicide and trying to counteract some of the issues that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I was telling Keiko that over the last decade that the CDC just released a report today that youth suicides are up 48% over that time. And that's just, that you can't be sad. I mean, we've got to do something in this state. Right. Actually, New Hampshire, which I don't know what their issues are, but New Hampshire in that same time period, Ohio was 48%. New Hampshire was 110%.
Wow.
Doubled their youth suicide.
Crazy.
So it is, first I want to thank you for the fundraiser you're doing and for choosing us. And it was interesting when Stacy and I were chatting, she had called and asked for, was there anything that we would like to put there? And so gave her Be Present T-shirts and crisis text line and some stuff that we had I actually got Courtney's services. And I'm absolutely, it was amazing how loved this young lady was. And I heard these stories from these kids who were in front of me were like, every time I had a problem, Courtney, there she is, beautiful, beautiful young lady. Every time I had a problem, she was the one who got me through it. She was like my mama bear. And, I was eavesdropping, obviously, on the conversation. But, that's the kind of girl Courtney is, right?
Absolutely. She was known as the band mom. She would purposely go and pick out somebody that was sitting in the corner by themselves, or maybe they were a little socially awkward, didn't have many friends. She would purposely go out and find those kids and bring them into her friend group. And, she was always the first one there to be helping somebody else if they're having a rough day. The best kid. I mean, nobody in school had any issues with her. Everybody loved her. One of the first things people hear or say when they hear about a 17-year-old that commits suicide is, oh, it's the bullying at the school. This was not the case. There was absolutely no bullying involved with her at all. Everybody loved her. The biggest thing is when she was 8, she was involved in a boating accident with my dad, her grandpa, and he drowned in front of her. So she watched everything from pulling him out of the water to, CPR, everything. So that was kind of the beginning of her. That's where her PTSD came into play. We had her in counseling right away. She did fine up until she was about 12, 13 years old. And then slowly she started having some issues with depression, anxiety, different things. And her counselor had warned me of this. She said, as she gets older and is able to process more, she'll start to have some issues in her teen years. And she'll kind of, so she always told me that it was her fault grandpa died. That's a lot to put on a kid.
Yeah.
Even though we all told her it didn't matter to her. In her mind,
Right.
it was her fault that grandpa died because he was trying to lift her up into the boat when he fell in. So, it is literally just a strict, it's PTSD. It's the same thing the soldiers come back with in the military. And, you've got grown men and women that have a hard time dealing with this. And then you give this to a teen whose emotions are all out of control and don't know how to deal with things, don't have coping mechanisms. It was just hard for her.
So now, her counselor tells you, you said she was 12, 13 when they said, like, this is going to be an issue. What was your reaction to that?
Actually, they told me that right after the accident to be watching for it. So I was prepared. Every year we would bring her back in for counseling. It was about once a year up until she hit that 12, 13 range. And then we started having a lot more regular counseling sessions with her. She had a counselor from our local behavioral health unit. It's a TCN now. They came out to the schools and did assessments. Indian Lake is far beyond helpful and looking to fix these issues before they happen. So all the teachers there have had mental health first aid. They've all been to trainings for this. It's a fantastic school. Anytime she was having any issues, they would call me and just give me a heads up. All of her teachers, anybody would just call me, text me, send me a message, anything, just let me know. Her friends were the same way. If they noticed she was a little off, they knew she had issues. They all were very helpful trying to get her through her anxiety attacks and different things. So it was so out of the blue when it happened. It was a little ironic because I run volunteer EMT for our Huntsville Fire Department, our local squad. And I get on the apps, we get notifications of when a squad run comes out. So I also work at Dayton Children's Hospital as a transport manager down there. And I was sitting with one of my employees, and on the app, it came up as a 17-year-old suicide hanging in my backyard at my address. So obviously I knew immediately it was my daughter. Trying to drive that hour up from work was not the best. I'm really glad I took the route I did because it made me slow down and it made me keep with traffic.
Right.
But yeah, I dropped her off at school that morning. Everything was fine. Everything was normal. There was nothing. The teachers, the principal all thought, what did we miss? They went back and watched all of the videotapes from the school, followed her throughout her day. They said there was absolutely no indication whatsoever that she was having any issues. Nothing. So
one of the things we talked about was, and I think it's, we can do all kinds of campaigns, and we can do, those types of things. But if we don't have a place for, to send folks for counseling or a psychiatrist, and we talk, that's something we talked about. Did you have issues with, finding folk, a psychiatrist?
Yeah, it's ironic. I did everything according to what the physicians were telling me. For a teen or a child psychiatrist, they are such a lack of resources with psychiatrists of that age group that it generally, for me, it took about 3 years before I could even get in to see a psychiatrist for Courtney. We had literally 4 days before she committed suicide, had her psychiatrist intake appointment to go see a psychiatrist. The kind of unwritten rule is you have to have been put on a couple different medications, had a couple different medication changes prior to them even referring to a psychiatrist. I work at a children's hospital and I have connections, and I still could not get her in because there is such a need for pediatric psychiatrists, and they're just overwhelmed. They can't get everybody in.
Well, and then it upsets. One of the things that we do, we advocate for we need more psychiatrists. We need, we need the work. We need a bigger workforce. If this was heart patients and there weren't enough cardiologists, we'd do everything in our power. And this week we were talking, and someone from someone high up said, we might have to do some cuts because of budgets. And it's like, what can you? I mean, in the middle of a pandemic, we've already had a mental health, crisis on our hands. Folks, how in the world could we think of cuts? I mean, when you hear that, what does that make you? Does that make you angry, or does that make you sad, or
scared?
Scared?
It's going to get worse if we have more cuts. Like I said, we were lucky enough that our family physician, actually he's a nurse practitioner, very, very knowledgeable on medications for on the psychiatric medications, and he's very good at. I mean, he prescribed everything. Told me was very well educated and well versed in these medications. Normally, physicians that are just your normal family practitioners, that's kind of where you have to start out at. Your pediatricians, your family practitioners, most of them don't know these meds, and especially all these new ones that are coming out. That's not something they normally have to prescribe. But unfortunately, like I said, it took 3 years, and we have to be placed on medications and have some changes and different things before you can see a psychiatrist.
Right.
And, if I did everything right and followed the right processes and had a great physician that really knew what they were doing, and we still had the outcome that we did, what is going on with other kids that maybe don't have the resources that I did, or their physicians don't understand the medications, where to even start to put them on. So, I would love to, as a first stepping stone, and this is by far not going to fix anything, but it may help some, is, maybe we can get some, all physicians, all medical professionals have to have continuing education credits in order to renew our licenses. Maybe just specify some of those in behavioral health, whether it's medications, whether it's identifying issues, what to do kind of thing. That, I think, is a good first stepping stone. There's no money involved in it. There's no changes. All it has to do is just specify some of their CEUs have to be in behavioral health instead of just whatever. So.
Now, you said that, like, on the day, like, the teachers, they went back, they looked at the video, and everyone said that, like, she was fine.
Yeah.
Was
laughing with her friends at lunch, having a good time.
Right.
Yeah.
Was the conversation like, were you guys open about, I can imagine you are, but I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yes.
Were you guys open about like, hey, today was a bad mental health day, or hey,
Oh,
like
absolutely.
I'm struggling? Like, was that like an everyday conversation?
Yes, it was. Mm-hmm. And I called the house like I do every day. I called at like about 4:40 that afternoon. So she would have been out of school for about an hour or so. And so I called and to check on her, and there was no answer. Something in my gut was telling me something was wrong. But I personally think that is when she passed. It was around that time frame. That was, just my gut. But in the past, she has told me, I mean, she has her bedroom was upstairs and mine was downstairs. So she would come to me in the past several different times and would say, Mom, I mean, just crying, sobbing. She goes, Mom, I don't want to hurt myself. I don't know what happened. I found myself out on the roof and I was going to jump and I don't know why. She goes, I don't remember going out there. I don't remember anything. So in my mind, I'm thinking she had one of those blackout episodes and she really honestly didn't know what she was doing and this is why she fell through the cracks with the inpatient admissions, because she truly, I mean, she had suicidal thoughts, but she truly didn't want to hurt herself.
Right.
She doesn't do inpatient because yes, she has thoughts, but she doesn't want to.
Right. Which isn't uncommon.
Right.
So that's where I think like maybe the confusion and the frustration comes in, that she falls through the cracks because not everyone who has suicidal thoughts want to necessarily hurt themselves.
Yes.
Well, and I've always heard that folks who die by suicide, they don't want to die. They just want their pain to go away.
Right.
So I think Stacy's froze.
Oh no.
So we'll wait for her to rejoin us. But yeah, when I was at her service, it was the kid. I mean, first off, we were at this place, and like the line went out of the building, and it was full of. I was one of the oldest people there. I mean, it was just a lot of teenagers, and you listen to conversations, and it was so many. I mean, this girl was just so giving to others, and just she was beloved, and it was such. It was really quite listening to these kids' conversations, quite the tribute to who Courtney is. Just this loving, really great kid. So it really was something. So glad you're back with us, Stacy. So
yeah, sorry, I don't. Must be the weather or something.
It's okay.
You're fine. I think I even froze once, and you had to continue on there, Kate, without me. Which was,
it's the beauty of working from home these days. Stacy, I have to ask you, I mean, Tony was just telling all of us about how the line was out the door with, all these teens. Have you heard from any of her friends? Like, I know that this has been hard on you and your family, but have you heard from any of her friends how they have handled it?
Yeah, I've had a few of them. They've called me, wanting to talk. With COVID, a lot of times we couldn't actually see each other, so we did a lot of messaging, different stuff. I actually had one of her good friends call me yesterday and asked if she could come over and spend the night next Wednesday. It'll be Courtney's 18th birthday. So, they're all still thinking about me. They contact me. There's a couple of her friends that are having a really, really hard time. They've called me saying that they were on the verge of being suicidal themselves. So I've kind of helped talk them down. I've had their parents even call me and say they would feel so much better if they would talk to you. Do you mind coming and talking to her? Different things. So, I've been very involved with all the kids that are her good friends. So,
and how does that make you feel? Having her friends reach out to you, just wanting to talk, wanting to spend the night, wanting to check on you, like,
it just shows how good a friend she had, how good of a person she was. Her spirit's still here, living on. Mm-hmm. She actually, one of her friends, good friends, Kayla, one day she just said she had this overwhelming feeling of she didn't want to drive that day for some reason. And her mom couldn't figure it out. She couldn't figure it out. She goes, I just don't want to drive. Because I just don't feel like it. So her mom drove her to band practice. And I happened to be going there to help. So all the seniors get music notes that are in the band, get to paint music notes in the walkway going into the football stadium. So I was going there that night to paint Courtney's music note they've asked me to do. While we were there, her mom said, she goes, Kayla didn't feel like driving. So I drove her in. She goes, and it's a good thing because there was a bad accident in front of us and Kayla had to call 911 for the first time. And when I talked to Kayla later, I told her, I said, Courtney was chirping in your ear right there, telling you not to drive. Because her mom had even said, she says, I don't know that she would have had the reflexes to stop in time and not get into the middle of that accident. So
I just got
she does. She just chirps in people's ears, and
that's comforting though. That she's still around. She still cares.
Yep.
And
she's doing her band mom thing.
And they're actually going to. You told me they're going to, honor Courtney by you walking across your parents' night. Correct? Senior night.
Yeah, they had to move senior night up because of COVID. They were afraid that the seniors were going to miss out if the football got canceled later in the season. So they moved night up to the first home game. And that was last week. So we did get to walk across the field. And of course, they had me and my family go first and had to stand in the 50-yard line for I swear it was forever. But it was wonderful, I'm still getting to do everything. I'm still getting to do everything with the students that she would normally get to do in her senior year. So it's been wonderful.
It's awesome that that community that she built for herself is still there for you. That's
absolutely. I have a feeling we're going to have a big turnout on Sunday if it doesn't rain.
I hope so.
If it does rain,
we have got a lot of raffle items and really good ones.
Awesome.
Yeah, Ashley Furniture donated a basket with all kinds of stuff. Actually, Courtney's aunt works there, and she was able to grab different things throughout the store that all reminded her of Courtney. So there's a green throw blanket, a singing cat, a couple of little mice, because Courtney had a rat and a mouse, and of course her mouse was Stuart, and her rat was named Remy. So she's got several different things, hedgehog book stands bookends because she loves hedgehogs and she loves books. So there's all kinds of things in this crate, and then on top of that, it's a $200 or $250 gift card to whatever somebody wants to put towards at Ashley's.
Wow.
So that's that. I'm hearing through, I believe, the Napa stores, Napa Auto Parts, they're donating a really big item also. I've not heard exactly what it is, but it's going to be a really good mechanics item. I believe it's a few $100 value. So yeah, it's been great. One of her other friends, Angelina, went and got a Harley Davidson half helmet and had Courtney's picture that she drew digitally, had it placed on there along with a couple of the suicide awareness ribbons on it. So that's going to be really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really neat. Got a lot of good stuff.
And that starts, so it starts at 10 a.m. and kickstands up at noon, right?
Yes, we begin registration down in the Dayton area at the VFW there. So we'll register people for the actual motorcycle ride portion of it. And then we'll ride our motorcycle club, the Femme Fatales. And also Dayton Chrome Divas. We've gotten together to kind of run this and make sure everybody's doing it safely and everything. So we'll ride the motorcycles in. I do have somebody that is going to be taking photos throughout the whole thing, and I'm going to put them up on a Facebook group that I've put together for kind of like an encouragement kind of thing in Courtney's honor. That is called Embrace Love, Corgi's Foundation. It's kind of the foundation I'm putting together to help with the whole suicide, mental illness. But there's a lot of inspirational quotes we put up there. It is a public group. Anybody can join it. So we'll have a bunch of pictures up from the ride and stuff from there. I think Alicia Altic is the one that's doing our photos for us, and she is planning on taking a bunch of pictures in the Dayton area when we're getting the registration, getting the ride ready, and then she's going to run back up to Oakville Beach and get photos of us all coming in on the motorcycles at the beach. It's going to be really cool.
Now, if it does rain, do you still ride in the rain? I don't know anything about motorcycles. So
I will. I've got rain gear. It's all right.
I will bring like a little rain umbrella.
Little umbrellas?
I have a helmet.
But even if you don't ride a motorcycle, it's still good to come out and, you know, the artwork and
Sloppy Joe's.
Sloppy Joe's, that's right.
I love Sloppy Joe's.
Well, and I do have to ask this because I was really, really upset yesterday. I was really angry, and I didn't even mention this to you, Keika. So yesterday, there was a sportscaster. So Dak Prescott, who's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, talked about his brother's suicide. And he said, you know, I got in depression, and I thought about ending my life. The quarterback of the Cowboys. And this broadcaster got on and said, you can't be weak-minded like this to be a quarterback. So you can't be talking about this. I found it so offensive, and I don't exactly know how to get a hold of this. I mean, what do you think about, again, going back to what I saw, you know, Courtney is such a beloved young lady. I mean, she was not a weak person.
No, she's one of the strongest people I know. To go through everything she did in such, at such a young age, and deal with her depression and her anxiety and the PTSD and everything. she is honestly one of the strongest people I know. And, you know, it's like I said, I'm next to positive she went into one of her blackout modes and she had no idea what she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think if she would have known, she wouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so and the stigma around this, it's, suicide impacts every person. I mean, no matter how much money you make, no matter where you're at in the, social scheme of things, no matter, I mean, no matter what color you are, what religion, whatever. I mean, it impacts everybody, and it just is. It's frustrating to fight that stigma all the time.
Yes, it is very frustrating.
Especially around men. I mean, for the sportscaster to tell a pro athlete, someone that kids look up to so much and idolize, like, oh, you can't be weak-minded like that. Well, that's that messaging that you're putting into another person's mind. Like, oh, I shouldn't talk about this. But in fact, like, we need to be talking about it. I mean, Stacy, you and your family, it sounds like you guys did a knockout job just making it a constant conversation and always being open. And I mean, even still, it happens. You know what I mean? Like, but you have to be able to talk about it. Like, you can't just bottle those things up.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think she would have even made it as long as she did if we hadn't had those open conversations.
Right.
She fought as long as she could. And, one of her favorite sayings was, "I don't know you, but I love you." So that's kind of my hashtag that I put in for any of my inspirational quotes that I put out to everybody is, I don't know you, but I love you. And she lived that every day. And, one of the things I told one of this, actually several of the students that were her friends and everything was, they were upset that, she was always helping everybody else, but she, didn't help herself. I said, she was all light and sunshine. She gave her sunshine away to everybody else and just didn't keep enough for herself. So, and it's the same as Robin Williams. I mean, if you look at it, they remind me a lot of the same, mentality. Is he was always there to try and make people laugh, to have a good time, to feel happier. And that's because they were so upset and hurting so bad themselves that they just wanted to make everybody else happy. So
what would you tell another parent who, because we hear this sometimes, well, it's just a phase these kids are going through. Oh, they're just, they're sad. Or what do you tell another parent?
Are you willing to chance their life on that? Think of it that way. Are you honestly willing to chance that it's just a phase? And it's, I took it seriously. My whole family took it seriously. My brother committed suicide when he was 25. So this is not the first time we've had a suicide in our family. We took it seriously. We did everything we could, and it still wasn't enough. So,
well, and going back to the fundraiser, I really think it's really a very cool concept to have a motorcycle ride, because it, you see all these, or at least I get the stereotype of the, guys, the beards and the, the big thing where you're driving it like this, and, all that. And it's like, with 80% of suicides being men, I mean, what a great way to kind of put this message in front of them.
And ironically, it's 2 all women's motorcycle groups that are putting this on.
Really?
Yep.
You and your stereotype, Tony.
Exactly. Well, I watch too many movies. So, what is the name of your group?
My group is the Femme Fatales. We're the other chapter. We have different chapters actually internationally. We have one in Canada and several across the United States.
Wow.
And the other group that's joining in with us, and we're kind of co-sponsoring it, is the Dayton Chrome Divas. And they have several chapters all across the United States also.
Wow.
So.
Keiko, I think you could be a Chrome Diva if
I would love to. Give me a helmet. I'm there. I've ridden a motorcycle a time or two in my life. I'm there.
Is there a height requirement?
Hey.
Absolutely not. You just got to be able to ride your motorcycle.
Perfect. I can learn. I'm there. Sign me up.
I'll teach you. I'll give you lessons.
Thanks.
And I'm also, I want to again go Sunday morning, 10. So, 10 o'clock, you register. You can hang around, have some fun, get in on the raffles and eating the sloppy joes as long as
all of the sloppy joes.
And the chicken. And it's at the VFW in Union, Ohio, which again, and it's on our Facebook page as well. So you're on our Facebook page, and we're
on our Facebook page right now.
Okay, are we?
Yes, this.
Okay. Well, down a little bit, and you can see all this written out. And we are, and then going to Oldfield. Oldfield. By the way, it's a VFW, not the CFW.
Oh my gosh.
So
I'm sorry. Well, it's on this screen. Look at this one. I'm so sorry.
But is that where they still light off the fireworks?
Yeah, that's where most everybody goes for the fireworks. This year we had it in a different place because of COVID. We couldn't have it at the state parks. But yeah, we'll be at Oldfield Beach. That's where all the community can come if they don't ride motorcycles or you don't want to actually go in the ride. This Oldfield Beach at Indian Lake, South Shelter House down by the volleyball nets and the dog park. So heck, if you even have a dog, bring your dog down, go to the dog park, come check us out. So yeah, you don't have to ride a motorcycle to come be a part of it.
Excellent. And also I did want to, we are very excited that we will be, having a piece of Courtney's artwork in our office. So it's going to sit in as people come in, it's going to be the first thing they see. So we're very happy to have that. And so we're grateful for that. So any words, anything you want to put into the ether for everyone to hear?
Just pay attention to those little signs if somebody's having issues. Help them out whenever you can. Be nice. I mean, that's such an easy thing to say and such a hard concept to actually follow through with, but that was Courtney, just be nice, love everybody, go out of your way to say hello to someone if they're, looking like they're a little lost. It's a kind word can go a long way to someone. Shortly after Courtney passed away, ironically, I love Five Finger Death Punch. They're like one of my favorite bands. And I was on their, I was on their fan page, and there was basically a cry for help. So this guy in Cleveland put out that, he just wanted one person to care that he was still here. And I messaged him on Facebook and said, look, I'm from Ohio. What's going on? Are you okay? We can talk. And to this day, we're still talking. And he says the only reason he is here today is because I reached out to him and said that even though I don't know you, you're still needed here on earth. You're still wanted. So, all it takes is a few kind words. It doesn't have to take a whole lot of effort.
No, wouldn't it be nice if we could all be kind to each other?
I know. There's times I just scratch my head and I'm like, it's not that hard. Just be nice.
Right.
No, we get in fights over silly things,
Yeah.
clocks and politics and really we're all just here. We want to be loved. We want to be supported, and everything else is gravy. So
exactly.
Well, Stacy, I just want to say that thank you so much for sharing your story and experiences and your daughters. But also, I just want to give you some kudos because of all the amazing, I know that Tony has told me stories that he heard about your daughter, hearing, your daughter's friends' stories. That's all a real testament to you. And I hope you know that you raised a good one. And you've got
she's a good kid. I didn't have a whole lot of hardship raising her. She just was all light and sunshine from the time she was little growing up, so.
Well, thank you for sharing all of this.
No problem.
Keiko's gonna look up five-finger
death punch.
Yes.
No, I wasn't expecting that
one.
Well, I will actually see, even though I don't ride.
Looks are deceiving,
They are. I love it though. I love it.
But then on the other hand, I also listen to country, so
there we go.
Courtney loved show tunes. Courtney loved show tunes. She would play show tunes all the time. She loved Hamilton. I don't know how many times I had to listen to the Hamilton tapes and songs. She was an 80s girl. She preferred 80s music over anything else. She was an old soul.
That was my time. That was my jam, man.
Speaking Tony's language now.
Oh yeah. We got stuff. I don't know five-finger death punch songs, but you want to give me a little Belle Biv DeVoe or something like that, I'm with
you. That was me growing up. Yep.
Well, I will see you. I'm going to be there on Sunday morning. I want to see what's going on. And even though I don't ride, I'm going to be out there. And I look forward to seeing you. And thank you so much for joining us today. And
no problem. And remind me to show you the video of Courtney singing Careless on Sunday.
Singing what?
Careless Whisper.
Okay. Little George Michael. I want to see that.
Little George Michael, yes.
I will absolutely remind you of that. So, well, I thank you so much. Everybody go out, either go to Union or Indian Lake, Oldfield Beach, and, just support a wonderful cause for a wonderful young lady. So, again, thank you so much. And we are, Keiko, you got anything?
No, you agree.
All right. And what's your hashtag, by the way, one more time? You not yours, Keiko.
I don't know you, but I love you.
I don't know you, but I love you. Yep.
Excellent. So let's end with that.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thanks.